Osmosis is the movement of water across the cell membrane, and the direction it moves determines whether a cell will swell, shrink, or stay the same shape. So what is osmosis? So osmosis is the net movement of water molecules across a selectively permeable membrane from a region of higher water concentration to a region of lower water concentration down the water concentration gradient. So we go from increased water concentration to decreased water concentration. Water concentration is inversely related to solute concentration. A solution with high solute concentration has a low water concentration, and vice versa. So if we have a high water concentration, we'll have a low solute concentration. So the water will move from a low solute concentration to a high solute concentration. So if we have a look at the diagram here, we can see that we have a low solute concentration. On the right here, we only have one of these green molecules. That green molecule represents a solute. So we have less on the right and more on the left, which means that the water is going to move from chamber 2 to chamber 1 into the high solute concentration or the low water concentration. Now let's talk about tonicity. So the effect of osmosis on a cell depends on the tonicity of the surrounding solution relative to the cell's internal solute concentration. So in a hypotonic solution, where the external solute concentration is lower than inside, the water moves into the cell by osmosis. So the cell swells and may lyse if the membrane cannot withstand the pressure. So if we have a cell, and then we have the water moving inside. So there's a lower water concentration inside the cell. So then the water will move into the cell and eventually cause the cell to increase in size. And it can actually lyse, which is cell bursting. So that can happen. This is an example of hypotonic. Now, hypertonic is the opposite. So that's when water, where the external solute concentration is higher than the inside, water moves out of the cell. The cell shrinks in a process called crenation in animal cells and plasmolysis in plant cells. So now we have a cell like this, but the water is leaving the cell, and then the cell shrinks and it can become shriveled in this shape. And then if enough water leaves the cell, then crenation can occur and cell death can occur. So there's one more tonicity, and that is isotonic solutions. In an isotonic solution, where the external and internal solute concentrations are equal, there is no movement of water, no net movement of water. The cell maintains its shape. So if we have a cell, the water doesn't move in and out more. They move out and in at the same rate if they move at all, which means that we have an isotonic solution. So there's no cell swelling or there's no cell shrinking. Now, the cell membrane regulates this osmosis through its selectively permeable phospholipid bilayer. So we looked at that in another video. Water molecules are small enough to pass directly through the bilayer through movement. Through movement is also facilitated by specialized water channel proteins called aquaporins. The membrane doesn't control osmosis, it simply provides the selectively permeable barrier across which the passive movement of water occurs in response to concentration gradients. All right, so to summarize, osmosis is the passive movement of water across a selectively permeable membrane from high water concentration to low water concentration. In a hypertonic solution, water enters the cell. In a hypertonic solution, water leaves. And in an isotonic solution, there is no net movement. The cell membrane provides the selectively permeable barrier through which this passive process occurs.